very special. It'll lead to something that could be the biggest of all.
It'll lead to maybe the biggest of all, as he says. He's talking about Stargate. And I think that's interesting because it seems like where this all's going to fall, in my opinion, is, well, at least for everybody, is what you want to believe. And so God said in the Bible that, I mentioned it so many times, stay on the narrow road because most will follow the wide road. So God said you want to find the narrow gate, but most people won't be on the road to the narrow gate. And this is called Stargate. And as I've said before, now the science will say that stars aren't angels. That's only the biblical context, and really stars are celestial bodies. That's what the science says. So that's what in my opinion, it's going to come down to is science is your God, and that will be for like your Richard Dawkins types. In fact, he just did. I just saw on YouTube. There's some interview up with him. And he talks about how nasty Trump is, and he can't stand him, but that he feels peace because Elon is there, and he said he knows what he's doing and he cares about humanity. This coming from the atheist Richard Dawkins, okay? I mean, I just, not to kind of, rip on atheists, but I just think there's kind of, stupidity there. I mean, it's one thing, you don't have to be some practicing person or but to just be an atheist and believe everything exploded here when there's tons of evidence for God all around you, and you just choose to be stupid. Yet he goes on to say, because I had just started listening to this, goes on to say it's just too bad, wish we could do something about the stupid Americans. Well, I see him as stupid, but again, he's one of those people, and we have many of them, that see themselves as so smart because they have this academia around them. Yeah, and all that academia closed your mind off so much that you can't even see that you didn't create any of this, but you want to believe you're God, the science. So the Bible mentions stars, mentions them many times in reference to angels. So this world, though, the reason this world, most people will be on the wide road is because they will believe the science. I've said this so many times, but because it's so important. Enter by the narrow gate. For the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. Richard Dawkins, your science, a ton of higher educated fools, that's where they are. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. So when I talk about that race, God said to finish the race, okay? You're trying to get to the gate, but make sure you get to the right, maybe Stargate. God, determines the number of stars. He gives to all of them their names. The stars he gives to their names. So again, you could say, well, no, the science tells us they're not. Well, no, but God says something else. God came before all the science. When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. As for the mystery of the 7 stars that you saw in my right hand and the 7 golden lampstands, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches. All the host of heaven shall rot away, and the skies roll up like a scroll. All their host shall fall, as leaves fall from the vine, like leaves falling from the fig tree. So, Revelations is about the scrolls, the seals, 7 seals, 7 angels, 7 scrolls, okay? So, and a lot of it being the earth, or the sky, God, and God, and that makes sense because this, it's saying the skies roll up. The full revealing. You could say, roll up like a scroll, and yet in other chapters it talks about how God God keeps a tent over the earth. He stretches out the tent, the sky, stretches out the tent. And the stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Lift up your eyes on high and see who created these. Did Richard Dawkins? No. He who brings out their host by number, calling them by name, by the greatness of his might, and because he is strong in power, not one is missing. So, when God says they're stars and he names them, most of this world would say, well, no, we're going to believe the science. They're educated. Yeah, but they're not educated by God, so they're stupid. Because God sent a teacher, it was the Holy Spirit, but this world isn't interested in that, and God knew it, which is why God said most people will be going to the wrong Stargate. Well, he says the wrong gate. I'm just saying it's interesting that this project that Trump says could be the biggest of all is called Stargate. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. That would be the war that between the angels, and there's a lot of them that decided to fall, to leave their proper place of dwelling. And then the ultimate war is there's the good angels that fall too, but that's the sky. So it really comes down to that most of this world, that what they're going to believe is not the Bible. They see it as some myth. You're not going to change that. God knew it, which is why in the very last book of the Bible, God knows that there's going to be more people following the science. So asking AI, the stars in the sky are not angels. They are celestial bodies. Okay. In some biblical contexts, stars are metaphorically used to symbolize angels, but they are not literally the same. Says this world. Again, why God said there will be more following, that no, they're not really stars. I'm going to believe man over God. In context of mythology and literature, Lucifer is not a specific star in the sky, but rather a term that refers to the morning star, which is the planet Venus. The name Lucifer is derived from the Latin word lux, and fer, to bring, light to bring, meaning light bringer. In ancient times, the morning star, or Venus, was personified as a herald of the dawn. Devil, or Satan, particularly in the context of fallen angel, who was once a beautiful and powerful being, but was cast out of heaven due to pride and rebellion. However, this association does not refer to a specific star, but rather the morning star, Venus, as a metaphor for fallen angels' former glory. In religious and biblical context, stars are sometimes interpreted metaphorically as angels. This interpretation stems from passages in the Bible where the term star can refer to both celestial and spiritual beings. For example, in Job 38:7, it mentions the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy, suggesting a metaphorical connection between stars and angels. Similarly, in Revelations 1:20, stars are used to symbolize angels or messengers. However, from scientific perspective, stars are massive celestial bodies I can't see part of it because of the recording, but you can see this is what the science says. So ultimately, what this world, as God knew, is going to follow is the science. They know best. They know all these words. They're experts. They're higher educated, all higher educated by other men, I might add. But they never wanted to entertain or consider that the Bible is true, and so much of it already, prophecy is played out. But God knew that this is what this world does. So what I would say is, as I've said for years now, make sure you're on the narrow road where you should be. Don't trust the science.